Welcome to That Violent channel. I'm That Violent Guy Boz. On this video, I'm going to be doing a review of my Uturn orbit turntable. I've had it now for 4.5 years, and I'm going to go over what's great about it and what's not so great. So stick around and don't touch that dial. Okay, and welcome back. So this is my Uturn orbit. Again, I've had it for 4.5 years. I bought it in January of 2016. This is, from what I understand, this is the second iteration of this turntable. There was one that, there was a previous version. That version actually had some kind of a problem with the turntable rotating, and Uturn fixed that. Uturn is always great that way. So this is the second iteration. So let's go ahead and get started talking about the turntable. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about the lid, and this is really nitpicking, so bear with me. But I spent quite a bit of money on this turntable. It's actually a real nice turntable, and it's worth every penny. But this turntable has these curved edges on this lid. Okay, if you go out and you look at inexpensive turntables that are about $50 or so in that price range, almost all of them have these curved round edges on their lids. I think it makes the turntable look cheap. Okay. Now the lid is functional. It moves up and down. It's a dust cover. It keeps the dust out. It does what it's supposed to do. So that's absolutely fine that way. So I also noticed that Uturn did not put a badge on the top center of this cover. If you take a look at my project that I have over here, you can see that project put an actual badge on the top center of their cover. Now I do know that the turntables you buy today, from what I can tell on the images on their website, they have actually upgraded the cover. It now has corners, square corners, and it has a badge in the center. So I believe I wasn't the only one who had some kind of issue with the look of the cover. But that's the way that my cover came. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next thing. The next thing is the Tonearm lever, and the Tonearm lever is right here. This was an extra piece. I had to spend $35 extra to get the Tonearm lever included with my turntable. I thought that was kind of crazy. I'm going to go ahead and put it back here. But I believe that any well-made turntable should automatically come with a Tonearm lever. It is an important part of the turntable. You want to have a precision way to drop the stylus on the record, pick it up from the record, and it should just be there already included. So that's one thing that I really didn't like about having to order this turntable, was I had to pay extra money for the Tonearm lever. Okay, now, so I've talked about a couple of negative things. Let's go ahead and move on to some positive things. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the mat and look at the actual acrylic platter. Okay, so I purchased the Uturn Custom, which meant that I customized everything about the turntable. So I specifically wanted to get the acrylic platter. It was an upgrade, but the acrylic platter is very nice. It's very well made. You know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the acrylic platter. I'm very happy with the platter. So also, I really like the actual plinth. The plinth is made of, not sure of the material, but it's very well made. It's held up for all these years. There's been absolutely no problems with it. It's awesome. Let's go ahead and talk about the actual Tonearm. Okay, so this is an earlier version of the Tonearm. It is a uni-pivot Tonearm. Okay, so it has to do with how it works inside this little casing in here. I do know that about a year or 6 months to a year after I purchased this, they moved to a gimbal design for how it works inside this casing. Honestly, I'm not that familiar with the differences between the uni pivot and the gimbal. I believe the gimbal actually works better, but I have absolutely no problems with this this Tonearm. It works great, so I can't really complain about it. So the stylus, I purchased the AT91 B stylus with this turntable. It was a conical stylus. I did it specifically because I play a lot of 45s on this turntable, and you want to have a conical stylus for 45s is because of the styrene records. You really don't want to use an elliptical stylus or microline or anything like that for a styrene record because it really eats up the actual record itself. I went with the conical stylus. Now I have replaced this. This is the 1895 DM stylus. It is a slight upgrade to the one that came to it. It's also Audio Technica like the other one, but I did upgrade it, but it's also a great stylus. Okay, so let's get back to something that's not so great about the turntable. Okay, so the belt has been, I'm going to put the mat back on here. Okay, so the belt has been really an issue with this turntable. I have extra belts here. I buy between 2 and 3 belts a year. Okay? And the main reason why I need to keep replacing the belt is due to the design of the belt and the capstan or the pulley wheels located here on the back of the turntable and attached to the actual motor. Okay, so these are pulleys that are on the back. Okay? There is a larger ring and a smaller ring. The larger ring is the 45 RPM speed, and the smaller ring is the 33 RPM speed. The way you change speeds is you actually use your finger and you roll, okay, you roll the actual belt from one pulley to the other pulley, and that changes the speed. Now the problem with this is that I almost always play 45 RPM records on this turntable, which means that I leave this belt on the larger pulley. Okay, and what that does, it causes the belt to be stretched out. Okay, so if I move this belt to the 33 RPM pulley, as you see, it just fell right off. Now I'm doing it the way that Uturn had told me on their website in their video. Just roll the actual belt. But it always falls off, and it's a pain to get the belt back on because you got to remove the lever, and then you got to get the belt out, and then you have to figure out how to bring it around. Alright, so it's back on. Okay, but I have to do that every time that I change speeds. At least from 45 to 33. Okay? And since the belt is stretched out, it creates a big problem because it takes a long time for this turntable to come up to speed when I do play a 33. So I have a record on here right now. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, and you're going to see how long it takes with this belt, okay, how long it takes this platter to come up to speed. Okay, and since we are talking about the belt and the pulleys, I also want to talk about the DC motor that powers the actual pulleys, okay? So about 2 years ago, the turntable, whenever I play a record, I would hear a ticking noise coming from the record player. Whenever I turn it on, it would tick, 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 okay? It took a little while for me to actually figure out where that sound was coming from. I thought it might be the belt. I really didn't know where this noise was coming from. And I eliminated pretty much everything else out, and I realized that the noise was coming from what I thought was the actual pulleys, and it was actually coming from the motor. Now, Uturn was great with me. I contacted Uturn. I explained to them that the motor was making this noise. They responded right away. The only thing I had to do was provide them the serial number to the turntable. Once I provided them the serial number, free of charge, I didn't have to pay anything. They paid for shipping, and they did everything, but they sent me a brand new motor in the mail with instructions of how to change it out. And it's really not all that hard. There is a casing on the bottom, it comes off, and you change out the motor. Now the motor sits in a well, okay, so there's a well where this sits, okay. On this model here, okay, the motor is actually mounted in the well with one screw on one side and with hot wax on the other side. Okay, so when I tried to remove the motor, okay, I took the one screw out, but I actually had to get a knife and cut around the hot wax. I had no other way to get that motor out of there without cutting around the hot wax. But the motor they sent me had 2 screws, one on either side. So what that meant was that I had to get a drill and actually drill a hole on the side that actually had the hot wax originally, because there was no other way to mount that motor in there. And that was kind of annoying. So, you know, it was what it was, but I do want to go ahead and tell you about that. Okay, so the turntable comes with three rubber feet on the bottom. Works fine. And the most important part of the turntable is that this turntable actually does sound really good. I have no problem with the way it sounds. I'm very happy with the turntable as far as that goes. Overall, I mean, I've had the turntable for 4.5 years, and I still have it. I have no want to get rid of it. So obviously, I do like the turntable, but I did want to go ahead and do this review and at least show you how it has performed for me over the past 4.5 years. So I hope this video has been informative for you. I want to thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe to my video. Go ahead and click on the little bell for notifications. And I'll see you all next time.